Okay, so today's message is from Dr. KCV's article, um, volume 1, page 184. The person who reaches thumb is more real than you. A man who thinks he exists perhaps does not exist really. That is a condition indistinguishable from non-existence. So the article title is Discourses on the Philosophy of Sri Ramchandra's Rajayoga, Lecture 5. Master has declared that he has discovered this condition which was not approached by anybody so far in the history of human race, namely the state of thumb, which is beyond sat or existence, which all people hold to be the highest. The state of thumb is very difficult to attain, and it has been possible only for our mission to help people reach up to this particular point or the ultimate reality. In fact, Master even goes a step further. He says even that thumb is a kind of reflection of the ultimate reality. So you will understand how difficult it is to communicate the very nature of that state except by putting one into that condition. But then he says, it is a condition where there is neither light nor darkness, and all our knowledge is said to be of light. So, what is that? That is beyond light. Shall we say it is darkness? No, it goes farther beyond darkness. It is difficult to describe that condition. In fact, Master goes to the extent that saying that a person who has reached that condition will not be aware of it except when somebody calls him back to answer a condition. That is only when what we call existence, truth, truth is introduced, one becomes aware of his condition. This is one discovery.
Take a pause.
Of course, when I had asked this condition to be given, he said that most people will not like that state at all. They do not want that stage at all. Most of us like to have knowledge, like to have power, and all those things which we think as the summit of perfection. A man who goes beyond all these will not have all these things. But then he goes to the root from which all these things arose. And therefore, I said it is worthwhile going to that condition. Anyway, so long as there is something still further mentioned, there are some people who like it go to the further limits. Whether it means death or final dissolution, they do not worry. Many people do not like to go farther. They would like to have what they have and not miss all these things of the world. Of course, truth comes only when we go far beyond knowledge, far beyond happiness, and perhaps even far beyond darkness. The next step that Master illustrates is about that condition. Do you think that in that condition, do you exist or don't you exist? Will you have your identity or not? Are you lost completely? It is said as one of the argument against losing oneself in the God, which such a condition is of no use at all, and must indeed be unreal. There are theories of Vedanta. I don't say it is Advaita. which hold that the individual soul, that is you, is immortal and is eternal. If you do not exist, God does not exist. So you must exist. That is why they say the individual soul is eternal, indestructible, and so on. That may be all right for people to say so. Actually, what happens? It is an experience not only in spirituality, but almost at every level that true love involves a dissolution of oneself, a giving up of oneself, even to the point of annihilation of identity. This we call merging. The religious people who are anxious to experience God do not like to be merged or lost in God. To them, realization means looking at God, enjoying God, worshipping Him in all sorts of ways, but not to feel one with God. That is, these people want God to live for them and not they for God. Almost all religions want God for the sake of the individual. Nobody is thinking of living to exist for God. So many people want to have their identity kept up, and we find their identities tried to be fostered by names, works, and so on, and those remnants as the delegates of such people. They are trying to give immortality to the works of those people. So, to that extent, we create a kind of immortality to their identity. It is only a philosophical feeling that you must have been previously. There are arguments for that. But ultimately, do you exist as a separate entity, keeping your own identity till the very end? Our master says the identity which each individual has continues to be even till the last date of Mahapralaya. Some people said even at Mahapralaya, a person goes on existing. That is a philosophical necessity. Even when a man enters into the state of tam, he continues to have a little identity till the very last, when everybody goes to the center, which is the tam, and everybody at that stage enters into it. And after that period of Mahapralaya, they come back again. The question is whether they themselves come back again. Can we believe that Markandeya comes back after every Mahapralaya? Most probably, we must accept it. But then it is not clear whether it is a problem for experience or for imagination. The Upanishad is very clear in this matter. The very same problem is stated in Kathopanishad. Nachiketa asks Yama, what happens to me after I get realization, whether I exist or not? It is very difficult, Yama said. Do not ask me that question. But he insisted upon the answer. Yama replied, well, you will come to a stage where you are so much one with that your distinction from it is very little. When you come out of it, a distinction comes out. That I is the existence. The I or identity is that from which thought arises. Individual thought arises from the I. Now, it is very difficult question to explain unless you go through that experience. Master says, there is an element of man running parallel to the divine. And the man who realized the thumb is one with the thumb. He almost identifies with the thumb. The human element or identity remains to the minimum extent, and it will remain till the very last, that is Mahapralaya. The realization is that. If you want to have realization here with the body, then you must have a minimum of identity and a maximum of the divine. That is what we are seeing in the master. In other words, it is precisely zero added before I and the number added after the decimal point, which makes your identity less, nearing absolute zero. This can be experienced in the lives of people. I can only represent this point by referring the master himself. This condition can be said to be pure thought with that slight point, and all his actions come to from that thumb through the infinitesimal. It becomes the passage through which the individualization takes place. In other words, Master says individuality is brought to a minimum. What is lost is individual and not divine. Master feels there is a greater mystery, a mystery which is beyond all spirituality also. And if you want to experience just by adding a little bit of what you call truth or existence, then you will see whether he exists or not. The person who reaches thumb is more real than you. A man who thinks he exists perhaps does not exist really. That is a condition indistinguishable from non-existence. Existence and non-existence are transcended in this condition. In other words, all our normal ways of describing this condition do not go far, and we are left to experiment on this aspect. Do not have a fear that your identity is going to be completely lost if you have any love for identity. Some people will say, and in fact, the great distress of Buddha was, as everybody tells that he was nihilist. He said the human individual is a bundle of samskaras, and so everybody said he was a Sunyavadin, and that is how they follow him. What he means was that ultimate cannot be described in the language of real experience, and it is something to be experienced by dhyana, as he himself said. And dhyana means what? Try to understand the original cause. If not, go on asking what the cause is. You come to the final point of I. Can you then stop there? No. You have to go still further beyond the cause. So you see at that point, are you to say that you are born out of nothing? All you can say is yes or no. It is very difficult. So the divine is completely different from the human, and there is no graduated process. So Buddha was misunderstood because the people who argued for him were intellectual, not those really experienced and lived for that. With a bit of divine, with a bit of the divine, they expanded their individual and called themselves God or superhuman. But he who is fully merged in that thumb and gives more importance to that thumb creates a new kind of personality. That is a very great point which Master has stated. That is why, to understand fully the magnificence and attractiveness of the thumb, one has to put aside all the prejudices about the nature of identity. You must realize that Sat, there is something greater than the identity. One thing which I come to know new in this article is that even after mergence, that is Layavastha, our identity still remains still Mahapralaya.
Yeah, that thumb is that original condition beyond this show. Okay, that is what K.C. sir explains. But traditionally, they say that those who have measured in the ultimate being, they do not have an identity. The tradition says, I think probably the Bhagavad Gita, I think. They say those who have reached that stage and merged in him totally, when the creation comes back again after Mahapralaya, they do not come back.
Hmm.
Those who who are nearer to that condition, but have not merged totally in the ultimate being, they come back to do the sadhana or do the work, whatever that is given to him by the divine. That's what the Bhagavad Gita says. But I need more comments on that from you people. He clearly says Tam is the one beyond that show. What is before that show is the Tam.
So, total annihilation of I is
Yes.
basically losing the entity Toto.
Identity totally. Once you have achieved that layavastha, the emergence with the ultimate being, then you lose the identity totally at the time of Mahapralaya. That was my understanding of what I read earlier. But probably others can comment on that. Shah and anybody.
So one thing is, in many of the traditions, the Sat is considered as the highest stage, right?
Highest, yes.
And it is only Master who talks about the Tam. Otherwise,
exactly.
Yeah, we don't find the mention of Tam. The one thing that I was thinking, like in the Ishavasya Upanishad and somewhere, right, it is the state of realization is that you are in everything and everything is in you.
Yeah.
So that is described as the state of realization, which means that we do not exist. So
Right.
I was just wondering, is that Tam or is that before that? So
Because basically, Tam is the one which is the Nirakara Brahman. And Sat is the one, Sakara Brahman. Sakara Brahman is the one which makes the creation. And he comes after the Shobh from the Nirakara Brahman. That is the what you say, that is the Sankalpam. The ultimate being made a Sankalp, and that Shobh has occurred, and the Sakar Brahman has come, and he makes the creation. That is the understanding from the tradition, Upanishads. And Tam is the one who is the Nirakar Brahman, who is beyond everything, beyond your understanding or anything. That is the one which exists before the Shobh. So Sat is the one who is the Sakar Brahman. And we can only imagine or we can only contemplate up to that level only. So the tradition says that is the ultimate. But the master says that beyond that Shobh is the Tam. That is the ultimate, from where everything comes. He makes a mention of the Buddha also. He also says it is nothingness. That nothingness is the Tam. That's why he comments about the Buddha being the Shunyavadin. Shunyavadin is not, he says it is not nothing. Master very clearly explains that it is nothingness, not nothing. Because commentaries on Buddha, they stopped at nothing. They did not go, they did not understood that concept of nothingness, which Master very clearly explains that it is nothingness, not nothing. That's why he says, you are you to say that you are born out of nothing? All that you can say is yes and no. It's both answers, yes and no. You have come out of nothingness only. But is it nothingness you have come out? In a
Nothing
way,
can come out of
yes.
nothing.
In a way, after the choke, it is a Sakar Brahman. So you can say yes. And no.
It means there is no awareness of the self, or for that matter, there is no awareness of anything.
Of anything, yeah.
जिसको जितना होश है उतना ही वो बेहोश है, right?
Elsewhere, Master says that the one who thinks he is aware is not aware at all. Who thinks he is unaware is aware to this, to some extent at least. So that's almost akin to the point which KCV brings out. Man who thinks he exists perhaps does not exist really. Any more comments on this?
No, the main question is that are we willing to let go our identity, right?
Yeah, unless you let go your identity. Yeah.
That's a serious question, right? That
Yes,
for
that's what
everyone.
KCV says. There are very few people are willing to let go the identity.
That is only the love for the master that can bring us that, right? Otherwise, obviously, we are not willing to.
He says very clearly, people want the God for them, but not themselves for the God.
Yeah.
The true love is basically when you think you are for the God, then that is the true love.
Other comments, questions, anyone? I think Brother Raghavan was also there for the Chittalek, right? Do you want to share?
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah. No, it was, I mean, we had our own program. So, I mean, we felt as if we are, at home, and it was more like a feeling of celebration. We had, I think all of the inmates were, experiencing the similar kind of feeling where everybody were thinking that as if we are under the master's grace, that kind of feeling. And in fact, one of the Abhyasis, he had to go out for some reason. I mean, he had some other work. So once he came back, he was like, oh, I mean, he could feel the difference, that it was so different being with the Abhyasis in the program, and then outside he just went for 1 or 2 days because of urgent work. And still he felt that he was missing a lot, and he had clearly had that distinction and the kind of environment we had, and the kind of grace we were enjoying, and then suddenly he had to go out, and even for a moment he was feeling that. And also after coming back, I think with all that, a lot of cleaning, I feel a lot of cleaning happened with so many pranahuti sessions. And once we are back, I think it took me at least, I would say I'm still adapting to it. So it took at least 2-3 days to get into the regular work. And yeah, just much more, I mean, more clarity on, pursuing sadhana, goal clarity, and a little bit more motivation to pursue it. So.
Thanks for sharing.
What exactly is your feeling during that time?
So during that time, I think it was mostly as if we are with the master. It's like we are under that canopy of master's grace. So even in my own case, I mean, I just went for a small walk out of that place, and then just outside that campus, just for a few minutes, and then somehow, I mean, I've been there in the previous times also. Maybe this time I felt like even just going out of that particular place itself was for me a little, how do I say, not so comfortable, because such was the kind of love and affection we were feeling inside the campus during those, with all of them, all the abhyasis, trainers, everybody being there. So. It was more like a close feeling to, I mean, something like a closer feeling of, you're close to your own homeland kind of feeling.
Okay. We still have another 30 minutes time. You want to read another one or close?
I was thinking more just to remain in this,
So in that thumb state, try to be in that.
state. Yeah.
Okay, right. Okay, then we'll leave. Thank you very much.